flooding, potential flooding, it's starting to pop up in more and more people's minds. Can you explain why?
Yep. So obviously, we here in northern Utah, we experienced those rainstorms and that snow melt last Friday and Saturday, which created some what we call sheet flooding in some various neighborhoods. So that kind of re-emphasized to everybody that we've had a very, very wet year. And as we're starting to see down in southern Utah now, they're starting to see the effects of the snow melt and how that's impacting their streams and rivers down in that area. And for us here in the northern part of the state, it's a normal process that we always expect every April or May. It's just a matter of how the snowpack comes down and what we can do to prepare for the larger amounts of water that are going to be associated with this year's snowpack.
So correct me if I'm wrong, we're talking about snowpack melt, but we're also talking about the fact that we've had some atmospheric river events with rain falling on snow in some, I guess, higher elevation.
Correct. You're absolutely correct. Two different events, right? So we've had that, again, last weekend, more of that sheet runoff where we've got the standing snow here in the valley with the rain on top of it, melting that snow and creating problems, localized problems. And then the second event would be the annual spring runoff.
What's being done to prepare for the possibilities here in Salt Lake County?
So Salt Lake County Engineering and Flood Control is really leading out on these efforts. Emergency management is in support. They are accessing the creeks as much as possible to make sure that any debris that may have accumulated in the streams and creeks over the last fall and during the winter have been removed so they don't create blockages in the various choke points in the streams and creeks. When we see those blockages, that's normally when we see out-of-bank type flooding, maybe like we experienced in 2010 or 2011. So those crews are working very diligently to make sure that we don't see that type of flooding happen this year. In addition, we're also preparing sandbags and other diversion devices to make sure that if we do start to see out-of-bank events or something like that, we can mitigate those issues as rapidly as possible. And to that end, we are having a volunteer sandbagging event tomorrow and Saturday at the Salt Lake County Public Works Yard, which is at 6906 South and 704 West, from 8 o'clock in the morning until 4 in the afternoon, where volunteers can come and help us fill sandbags so we have an ample supply should we need them as the runoff season progresses.
Every person is different, every property is different. What's your advice to people? I mean, maybe some people could be like, I don't know, what should I be doing? Is my property going to flood?
Absolutely. So a few things that we recommend. One, when you're out walking the dog or if you're out for a stroll or something like that, if you see that the storm drains in your community are blocked, maybe there's leaves in there from last fall or something like that, clean those out and throw that debris up on the parkway strip. Make sure those storm drains are clear. That will help with some of the localized flooding events. In addition, if you've had problems in the past, it's likely you're going to have problems in the future. So we have on our website with emergency management, it's slcoem.org, we have the floodplain map on there from FEMA showing the 100-year floodplain. So we always encourage people to look and see if they live maybe in a floodplain, and if they do, one of the things they can do is make sure they've got the proper kinds of insurance. Most homeowners insurance, for example, does not cover flooding issues. It's an extra rider or an extra policy that they need to have. So again, to help, if they do have problems with that sort of thing, they can at least have that recovery process in place. In addition, Salt Lake County Public Works is handing out sandbags, 25 sandbags per car, to residents that feel like they need them if they have a walkout basement or if they have other areas of concern on their properties. They can come and get some sandbags and lay those in place prior to the event happening.
And finally, what needs to happen to kind of avoid some of the widespread flooding we are kind of warning people about with snowpack melting?
Sure. So again, with the amount of snowpack that we've got, I think I heard up Little Cottonwood Canyon, there's 680 plus inches up there now with the last storm that we had. What we need is Mother Nature's cooperation. We need the temperatures to warm up gradually so the snow melt can come down in a measured way rather than it being 30 degrees one day and 80 degrees the next, and then we see this massive runoff that is just beyond the physical capabilities of the creeks and streams to handle. In addition, like I'd mentioned, the engineering and flood control folks are making sure that those creek beds and those waterways are free of debris so that we can minimize the potential for blockages that again force that water out of the stream banks.
Clint, is there anything I'm forgetting to ask you or anything else you wanted to say?
Not that I can think of. Oh, one other thing. So as the weather starts to turn nicer like it is today, we're all anxious to get out of our homes and enjoy our great outdoors. As this runoff occurs, the water will be moving very fast and it will be very cold. So again, we're encouraging everybody to stay away from those creeks and streams, pets, children especially, because that water is cold enough to be instantly incapacitating, and it can really cause problems if people actually get into those water flows. So again, if you go outside and enjoy the great outdoors, be very, very cognizant of that running water, and as we get into April and May, those flows will probably be even higher than what we're seeing now, and we just don't want anybody to get hurt.
Thank you.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Of course.
Right there with 2 seconds.
Yep.